In a grand and quiet castle, Prince Leo lived a lonely life. The castle was large, with tall towers and thick walls. The windows showed the peaceful kingdom outside, but the prince rarely had the chance to explore beyond the castle grounds. His father, King William, ruled the kingdom with care and wisdom, but he was always busy. He had meetings with advisors, spoke to merchants, and worked on royal duties. The castle was always quiet, and Leo felt like he was the only person inside it who wanted more. Leo was kind and gentle. His heart longed for friendship, but he had no one to talk to. The only company he had was his tutors, who taught him about history, reading, and writing, but they never played with him. He spent his days looking out of the tall castle windows, wishing he could join the children from the nearby village. They laughed, ran, and played games outside the castle walls, something Leo only dreamed about. But his father had told him that a prince must act in a way that is dignified, and playing with village children was not something a prince should do. The royal staff and guards watched over the castle, and none of them would dare let the young prince play outside. They treated him like someone special, but Leo didn't feel special at all. He felt different, apart from everyone else. He felt like no one saw him for who he was, just a lonely young man who wanted a friend. Every evening, Leo would sit alone in his room, staring out of the window at the sunset. The sky would turn orange and pink, and the children's laughter would echo in the distance. He would watch as they played together, wishing he could join them. But he never did. The castle was his world, and it was a world where he was alone. Prince Leo didn't complain, though. He kept his feelings inside, trying to be brave. He knew that, as the future king, he had to be strong. But deep down, he couldn't help but feel sad. His heart was heavy, and all he wanted was a friend, someone to talk to and share his thoughts with. One sunny afternoon, Prince Leo decided to take a walk in the castle gardens. The flowers were blooming, and the birds were singing in the trees. Leo walked slowly, lost in thought, wondering what life outside the castle might be like. He had heard stories from the royal staff, but it was hard to understand what it was really like when he had never experienced it himself. As he wandered near the edge of the garden, he saw a figure by the river. It was a girl, sitting on a rock with her feet dangling in the water. She had long brown hair that flowed in the wind, and her clothes were simple, but clean and neat. Leo watched her from behind a tree. She looked so peaceful, so different from the people in the castle, who were always busy with their own important matters. The girl seemed to be deep in thought, gazing at the water. She didn't notice Leo watching her. Something about her calmness made him feel curious. Leo wanted to go over and say hello, but he wasn't sure how. What would she think of him? A prince who had never had a real conversation with someone from the village. The girl suddenly looked up, and their eyes met. Leo froze, unsure of what to do. She smiled at him, a warm and friendly smile that made him feel a little less nervous. She stood up and waved. "Hello, Prince Leo," she called out. "What brings you here?" Leo blinked in surprise. He had never met her before, but somehow she knew his name. He stepped forward, unsure of what to say. "Hello," he replied softly. "I was just walking." The girl chuckled softly. "The garden is beautiful, isn't it? I come here often to think." Leo nodded. "It's peaceful here. I've never really had time to just think." She smiled again. "I'm Gwen, by the way. I live in the village nearby. My family works in the fields." "Gwen," Leo repeated, trying the name on his tongue. "It's nice to meet you." They stood there for a moment, awkwardly, but then Gwen spoke again. "Would you like to sit?" she asked, gesturing to the spot next to her by the river. "I don't mind sharing the quiet." Leo hesitated. He had never really talked to anyone his age outside the castle walls, but something about Gwen made him feel at ease. He nodded and sat down beside her. They talked for hours. Gwen shared stories about her life in the village, how everyone helped each other, how they worked together to grow food and keep the village running. She told Leo about her family and how they lived a simple but happy life. She spoke with such joy about everything around her. Leo listened intently. He had never heard anyone speak so freely and happily about their life. It was a world he had never known. As they talked, Leo felt something he hadn't felt in a long time, a connection. Gwen wasn't treating him like a prince. She was treating him like a person, like a friend. Gwen, in turn, asked Leo about the castle. He told her about the royal family, the grand halls, and the many duties his father had. But he also told her about the loneliness he felt. He told her how he often watched the children play outside the castle gates, but couldn't join them. How he longed for a friend. Gwen nodded, understanding the feeling. "It must be hard," she said softly, "being surrounded by people, but still feeling so alone." Leo looked at her, grateful for her understanding. "It is, but I think you might understand me better than anyone else I've met." Gwen smiled and patted his hand gently. "Sometimes all we need is someone to listen, and I'm happy to listen to you." For the first time in a long time, Leo felt understood. They sat in silence for a while, listening to the sound of the river and the breeze in the trees. It was the most peaceful he had felt in a long time. As the days passed, Prince Leo and Gwen continued to meet in secret. They would sneak away from the castle, meeting in hidden spots around the gardens or by the river. They spoke of their hopes, dreams, and fears, their conversations flowing easily as they shared stories of their lives. Gwen taught Leo many things. She showed him how to make simple bread with flour, water, and salt. They would knead the dough together, laughing as it stuck to their hands. Gwen also taught him how to fix broken chairs and how to carry water from the well. Tasks she did every day in the village. Leo found himself enjoying these simple things, which he had never learned to do in the castle. Leo, in return, told Gwen about the castle's history and the royal family. He shared stories of his ancestors, kings and queens, who had ruled the kingdom before him. He spoke about the royal library, filled with books about distant lands and great battles. But their friendship was a secret. The guards at the castle would never approve, and the villagers might wonder what a prince was doing, spending so much time with a simple village girl. They had to be careful. They knew that if anyone found out, they could both be in trouble. Despite the risks, Leo and Gwen's bond grew stronger. They helped each other understand the different worlds they came from. Leo found joy in the simple life Gwen described, and Gwen found excitement in the stories Leo shared. They were more than just friends. They had become a part of each other's lives in a way that neither had expected. One day, as they sat by the river, Gwen grew quiet. She looked down at the water, her expression thoughtful. "What is it?" Leo asked, noticing the change in her mood. Gwen sighed and then spoke softly. "There's something I need to tell you, Leo. Something I've been keeping secret." Leo's heart raced. "What is it?" "You can tell me anything." Gwen looked at him, her eyes full of worry. "The villagers. They're planning to leave the kingdom. They feel like the king doesn't care about them anymore. The crops are failing, and many families are struggling. They don't know how much longer they can stay." Leo was shocked. He had no idea the villagers were suffering so badly. He had never been told about the food shortages or the hardships the people faced. He had always lived a life of luxury and comfort, unaware of the pain just beyond the castle gates. "What can we do?" Leo asked urgently. "Is there anything I can do to help?" Gwen shook her head. "I don't know. If anyone finds out that we're talking about this, it could make things worse. The king is busy, and he doesn't understand what it's like for the people. We're just small voices in a big kingdom." Leo looked at Gwen, feeling more determined than ever. "I will do something. I promise you." Over the next few days, Leo couldn't stop thinking about what Gwen had told him. The villagers were struggling, and many of them were planning to leave the kingdom. He had never known about their hardships. The castle where he lived was full of fine food and warmth, while just outside, people were going hungry. Leo spent hours walking in the castle, deep in thought. He passed through the grand halls with their tall ceilings and beautiful tapestries. But none of it mattered to him now. He couldn't just sit and enjoy his life while the villagers suffered. One evening, after dinner, Leo went to his father's study. King William was busy reading reports, looking over maps of the kingdom. Leo hesitated, but then, with a deep breath, he approached his father. "Father, can I speak with you?" Leo asked. King William looked up from his work, surprised by the interruption. "Of course, Leo. What is it?" Leo swallowed hard. "I've been thinking about the villagers. I've heard that many of them are planning to leave the kingdom because they're struggling. They don't have enough food. The fields are failing." King William frowned. "That is unfortunate, but I am busy with important matters. The kingdom must stay strong. I can't waste time worrying about small problems." Leo's heart sank. His father didn't seem to understand. He had always known his father to be strong and focused on the kingdom, but Leo had hoped that King William would care about the people outside the castle walls. "But father, they are our people. If we don't help them, they will suffer. Maybe we can do something. Maybe we can send them more food or help with the crops." King William's expression softened, but only slightly. "I will think about it, Leo, but there are many matters I must attend to. Don't worry yourself about the village. The kingdom is large, and we have bigger concerns." Leo's chest tightened. He knew that his father didn't understand, and he realized that if he wanted to help, he would have to do it himself. That night, Leo couldn't sleep. His mind was racing with thoughts about the village and how to help. He knew his father would never take action unless something changed, and Leo couldn't wait around any longer. He needed a plan. The next morning, Leo sneaked into the royal library, the largest room in the castle, filled with books on history, law, and the kingdoms of old. He had always enjoyed reading, but now he had a purpose. He wanted to learn how other kings had helped their people in times of need. Leo spent hours going through old books, studying the ways kings had cared for their people. He read about kings who had sent food to starving villages, about rulers who had worked side by side with their people to fix the land and rebuild what had been broken. Leo knew that it wasn't just about giving food. It was about understanding, about showing that the people mattered. By the time the sun set, Leo had made up his mind. he would find a way to help, even if it meant doing it alone. The following day, Leo went to his father's study again. He had thought long and hard about what he wanted to say, and now he was ready. "Father, I need to speak with you," Leo said. King William looked up, his expression serious. "What is it now, Leo?" Leo stepped forward, his heart pounding in his chest. "I know you're busy with the kingdom, but the people in the village are struggling. They are hungry, and they need our help. I want to go there, Father. I want to see what I can do to help them." King William set down his papers, his brow furrowing. "Leo, you are a prince. You don't need to go to the village. The people are my responsibility. You should focus on learning how to rule." "But Father, if you don't understand what they're going through, how can you help them?" Leo asked, his voice filled with emotion. "I want to understand, and I want to help. They are part of the kingdom, and I want to be a king who cares about all of his people." King William looked at his son, studying him for a moment. Finally, he sighed. "You don't understand, Leo. There are bigger things to worry about than a few hungry villagers." Leo stood tall, his eyes full of resolve. "I will go, Father. I know what I need to do. Please, let me." King William was quiet for a long time. He was not used to seeing Leo so determined. Finally, he spoke. "Very well, Leo. You may go. But you must understand that you are not a commoner. You will be careful." Leo nodded. "I will, Father. Thank you." Now from this point, the story will be continued in the next part.